Welcome to the channel, horror fans. Today, I have 3 chilling stories that will send shivers down your spine. The first one is the tale of the empty room. So, dim the lights, get cozy, and let's dive in. Once upon a time, in a quiet, forgotten corner of the city, there stood an old apartment building, its walls heavy with secrets and the whispers of those who had vanished within. This is the tale of Emily, a young woman seeking a fresh start. Emily moved into her new apartment, filled with excitement. The peeling wallpaper and creaky floorboards gave it character, but there was also an unsettling aura that she couldn't shake. When she met her landlord, Mr. Thompson, he casually mentioned a locked room at the end of the hallway, insisting it was just storage. Yet, there was something in his eyes that made her uneasy. That first night, as Emily lay in bed, the silence was shattered by faint whispers and tapping sounds echoing through her apartment. She sat up, heart racing, trying to convince herself it was just the building settling. But the sounds only grew louder, more persistent, tugging at her curiosity. Unable to resist, one evening, Emily decided to pick the lock on the door at the end of the hallway. With a mix of fear and excitement, she stepped inside the locked room, flashlight in hand. Dust hung in the air, and old furniture was scattered about. But what caught her attention was a diary resting on a small table. She picked it up and began to read. The first entries were filled with the excitement of a new beginning, but as she continued, the tone shifted. The last entries were frantic, detailing the previous tenant's growing paranoia. Whispers at night, the feeling of being watched. Emily felt a chill run down her spine as she read the final line. "It's here with me." In the following nights, strange occurrences plagued Emily. Objects moved on their own, and shadows flickered just out of her line of sight. She often felt a cold draft, as if something unseen was lurking nearby. One evening, trembling with fear, she whispered to the empty room, "Is someone there?" Determined to uncover the truth, Emily confronted Mr. Thompson about the diary. His face paled as he revealed that Sarah, the tenant before her, had not been the first to disappear in that apartment. A chilling realization settled over Emily as she understood the building's dark history. That night, the whispers reached a deafening crescendo, and Emily found herself dreaming of Sarah. The vision was haunting Sarah's face, twisted in fear, as she warned Emily, "You have to leave. It wants you." Emily awoke in a cold sweat, realizing she had to confront the entity. Gathering her courage, she recited Sarah's final entry aloud, declaring, "You can't have me. I refuse to be trapped." The room grew cold, shadows swirling violently around her as the entity responded, threatening to consume her. In a desperate burst of strength, Emily broke free from its grasp and ran down the hallway, the whispers fading behind her. She burst through the front door and stood on the sidewalk, breathing heavily, feeling the weight of the building's darkness lift from her shoulders. As she glanced back, she saw Mr. Thompson standing at the entrance, a knowing smile on his face. "The next tenant will be here soon," he said casually. Behind him, the locked room loomed ominously, the whispers beginning again. In the depths of fear, some secrets are better left undisturbed, and Emily had escaped, at least for now. Once upon a time, there was a teenage girl named Lily who was obsessed with capturing the perfect selfies. Her life revolved around likes and followers, and she was always on the hunt for the next trend to make her online persona shine. One day, While exploring a local thrift shop, Lily stumbled upon a vintage mirror. Intrigued by its ornate frame and mysterious aura, she bought it, thinking it would add a unique touch to her room. Excited, she set it up and began taking selfies. But when she looked at the photos, something felt off. The reflection was smiling, even when she wasn't. At first, she brushed it off as a trick of the light. However, as she continued to use the mirror, the reflections became increasingly bizarre. Sometimes they showed a twisted, sinister version of herself, a darker persona that seemed to come alive within the glass. With each passing day, the mirror's influence grew stronger. Lily became more obsessed, losing touch with reality as her online persona morphed into something darker. Her friends began to notice the change and grew concerned. They confronted her about the mirror and her behavior, urging her to let it go. One evening, when her friends gathered to talk, they caught a glimpse of the reflection in the mirror. One by one, they were drawn in, their images trapped in the mirror's dark world, unable to escape. Panic set in as they realized what was happening, but it was too late. Now alone, Lily understood the truth. The mirror was feeding on her obsession, turning her friends into mere reflections, trapped forever. She had to confront the darkness she had unleashed. With the sinister reflection taunting her, Lily faced a choice: succumb to the darkness or fight back. In a desperate attempt to reclaim her life, she smashed the mirror. The sound of shattering glass echoed through the room, but the damage was done. Though the mirror was broken, the darkness lingered, and her friends remained trapped in the shards of glass, their screams echoing in her mind. Lily stood among the broken pieces, haunted by the realization that some reflections are better left unexamined. In a small, quiet town, a single father named Mark moved in with his young son, Ethan, seeking a fresh start after a difficult year. They settled into a cozy house on the edge of a thick forest, where the tall trees whispered secrets in the wind. Mark was hopeful that this new beginning would bring joy to both of them. One evening, as they were settling in, Ethan mentioned something that made Mark pause. "Daddy, I have a new friend. His name is Danny, and he lives in the woods." At first, Mark chuckled, brushing it off as typical childhood imagination. Kids often invent friends to cope with loneliness. He encouraged Ethan's creativity, but a nagging feeling lingered in the back of his mind. As the days passed, Ethan continued to talk about Danny. He claimed they played together, and sometimes Danny even told him secrets. Mark tried to ignore it, but he began to notice strange things happening in the house. At night, he'd hear faint whispers echoing through the dark, and when he checked on Ethan, he would find strange markings on the walls, little scratches that seemed to form shapes, almost like letters. Concerned, Mark decided to investigate. He visited the local library and dug through old newspapers, uncovering a chilling story. Years ago, a boy named Danny had gone missing in the very woods behind their house. The townspeople had searched for him for weeks, but he was never found. Rumors swirled that his spirit still wandered the woods, searching for a friend. Mark's heart raced as he realized the implications. Could Ethan's imaginary friend be the spirit of the missing boy? Dread settled in as he pictured his son playing with a lost spirit in the dark woods. That night, as Mark tucked Ethan into bed, he felt an overwhelming sense of unease. "Ethan, is Danny with you right now?" "Yes, Daddy. He says he wants to play outside." Mark's heart sank. "Listen, Ethan, I don't think you should play with Danny anymore." But Ethan only giggled, as if he couldn't understand the danger. As the whispers grew louder and more insistent, Mark decided to confront this mystery. He ventured into the woods the next day, feeling a strange pull as he moved deeper among the trees. The air grew colder, and shadows danced around him. Suddenly, he felt a presence beside him. The whispers escalated into a cacophony of voices, and he turned to see a faint figure, a boy with hollow eyes and a sad smile. "Why won't you let him come play with me? We can be friends forever." Fear coursed through Mark. "You can't have him. He's my son." Danny's smile twisted into something darker. "But I've been waiting so long for a friend. He belongs with me." In that moment, Mark understood the depth of Danny's longing, trapped in the woods for years. But he couldn't let his son fall into that darkness. With a surge of determination, Mark called out for Ethan, forcing himself to focus on the love he had for his son. The woods began to shift around him, the shadows growing darker and more oppressive. "Ethan, come to me." Ethan appeared at the edge of the clearing, looking confused. "Daddy, where's Danny?" Mark ran to his son, pulling him close. "He's not your friend, Ethan. He's a lost spirit." As Danny lunged toward them, Mark shielded Ethan with his body. "You're not taking him. You're not taking anyone else." With a primal scream, Mark confronted Danny, and in that moment, a brilliant light erupted from within him, banishing the darkness surrounding the spirit. Danny's form flickered, caught between worlds, before he finally dissolved into a whisper, leaving behind a chilling silence. Breathless, Mark held Ethan tight, relief flooding over him as the woods returned to their calm state. They hurried home, leaving the haunted woods behind. In the days that followed, the whispers ceased, and the strange markings disappeared. Mark and Ethan slowly adjusted to their new life, thankful for their bond and the knowledge that love could conquer even the darkest of spirits. Though the town had its secrets, they would face them together, knowing that some friendships were best left unmade. Thank you for joining me for this haunting tale. If you enjoyed the stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more spine-tingling narratives. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever felt a presence that just wouldn't let go? Until next time, stay safe and keep the lights on.